This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets.
Oil prices rose on Monday after U.S. President Donald Trump extended a deadline for trade talks with the European Union, easing concerns about U.S. tariffs on the bloc that could hit fuel demand. Brent crude futures rose 39 cents, or 0.6%, to $65.17 a barrel by 0919 GMT, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude was up 33 cents, or 0.5%, at $61.86 a barrel. Trump's pivot, by postponing higher tariffs for the EU, and his comments on possible sanctions on Russia are moderately supporting crude prices today, UBS analyst Giovanni Stanovo said.
Asia's imports of liquefied natural gas stagnated in May while Europe's continued to ease as demand in both of the world's top importing regions entered the seasonal slump between winter and summer peaks. Imports of the super-chilled fuel to Asia are on track to reach 22.53 million metric tons in May, up from 21.89 million in April, according to data compiled by commodity analysts Kepler. However, it's worth noting that this actually represents a small drop on a per-day basis, with May's 727,000 tons fractionally less than April's 730,000.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
Egypt is in talks with energy firms and trading houses to buy 40 to 60 cargoes of liquefied natural gas, LNG, amid a worsening energy crunch ahead of peak summer demand, three sources aware of the matter told Reuters. The country faces spending up to $3 billion at current prices to secure the LNG, squeezing government coffers already under strain to keep the lights on amid falling gas production and a cost of living crisis. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi on Wednesday directed the government to preemptively take whatever needs necessary to ensure stable electricity flow, according to a statement.
Indonesia plans to add 69.5 gigawatts of power capacity by the end of 2034, much of it from renewable sources, but still expects to add new coal-fired power plants, the Energy Ministry said on Monday. The expansion will need investment of more than 2,967 trillion rupiah, $183 billion. The government said in its new power supply plan for 2025 to 2034, which is more ambitious than a prior plan to add about 40 gigawatts from 2021 to 2030. Although Jakarta has previously said the new plan would be its most environmentally friendly, helping to achieve a 2060 target of net zero greenhouse gas emissions, it walked back Indonesia's commitment on retiring coal assets. Next, we have the top news in metal markets. Gold prices fell on Monday after U.S. President Donald Trump reversed course on his threat to impose 50% tariffs on goods from the European Union from June 1, reducing demand for the safe haven asset. Spot gold was down 0.8% at $3,329.78 an ounce, as of 10:36 GMT. U.S. gold futures fell 1.1% to $3,329.20. I would call it a range trading day, said Giovanni Stanovo, UBS analyst, attributing the modest drop in prices to Trump's decision to delay the imposition of higher tariffs on the EU.
Prices of iron ore futures dropped on Monday on subdued steel consumption in top consumer China, while persistent weakness in the country's real estate sector also dampened market sentiment. The most traded September iron ore contract on China's Dalian commodity exchange ended daytime trade 2.21% lower at 706 yuan and 50 fen, $98.47, a metric ton. Earlier in the session, the contract reached 704 yuan, its lowest since May 12. The benchmark June iron ore on the Singapore exchange traded 1.09% lower at $97.05 a ton as of 0708 GMT.
We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector.
Japan aims to cut stockpiled rice prices to 2,000 yen, $14, per 5 kilograms, 11 pounds, and get rice onto shop shelves more quickly, the Farm Ministry said on Monday, as the high cost of the staple risks adding to the government's unpopularity. Crop damage from extreme heat and increasing demand from tourism have contributed to a surge in rice prices, a concern for Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba's government, whose public approval rating has been stuck around a record low ahead of an upper house election in July. The government will sell 300,000 metric tons of stockpiled rice, equivalent to roughly half a month's worth of Japan's rice consumption, via discretionary contracts to retailers, the Farm Ministry said.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.